Alrighty guys, today we are going to rebuild the Pro steering for the Polaris Predator. I see a lot of people having this issue. Pretty straightforward. Your steering's loose. A lot of times these arms and stuff, the bearings go bad, steering stem bearing goes bad, and these little guys, I've got the little rubber boots taken off. To show you what the inside looks like. These guys will develop play or they'll get bent or something like that. They're kind of expensive, so the better you can take care of them, the longer they'll last. Otherwise, you got to go to a hardware store and get some Heims and try to make something like that work. So right here, I have one that's disassembled. You can see what the parts and stuff look like. I just want to give you an overview before we tear into this. What we're going to be doing to tear it apart and what tools you need. So some of these are optional. I do have an impact with a 9/16 socket here ready to go. I'm trying to do this over top of my phone, so bear with me. This might not be the best quality, but so the tools that I'm using, it's just, these are all cobalt tools. These are the ones that fit in the bores that I have here that seem to fit the best. I don't know if others work that way or that well or not. You probably will need a bench vise to press the new bearings in, but for the most part, a hammer and some sockets will work just fine to get them out, unless your bearings are absolutely gone and they fall apart. Then you're probably going to need like a little Dremel or a die grinder to get the bearing shells out. But as you can see, the bearings and stuff, they're all out. There's two little sleeves here that go inside of this. They're just spacers inside of there. You'll see once I tear those apart. And then there's little collars that fit in the bearing races to get it down to a 3/8 hole. I don't remember what size bearings these are, but if you got a micrometer, you can figure that out pretty simply. Other than that, a couple picks. If you don't have one of these, it's easier actually to use these to get the snap ring out of the bottom of the Pro steering box. Then you can just pry it around. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So you just need a 9/16 wrench socket. You're going to want some grease to go ahead and lube these back up once you get the rubber boots, and you have to free these up. Some of these, this one was particularly really tight. I had to get some WD-40 out. I'm going to go ahead and clean all the gunk and stuff out of there. As you can see, it's pretty bad. This is why maintenance is always a top priority. None of these really have any play side to side, so we're going to go ahead and just grease them up. With that being said, let's go ahead and tear into this guy. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and get these linkage arms off. As you can see, you want this to be nice and loose. If not, you're going to have steering issues. Same thing with these guys. If these don't spin freely, your steering is going to be hard, and that just does not make for a fun day of racing, riding, whatever you're doing when you're constantly fighting your steering. So we're going to go ahead and tear this apart. And I'll say this before it gets too far in. When you go to tighten those back up, don't over tighten them. You'll pinch the bearings and it'll make it harder to steer. So we'll get these tore apart. Go ahead. See, there's a little snap ring right there. Your inner ring, retaining ring, whatever you want to call it. Just go ahead, take your pick, get that up out of there like so. Then you can take this right angle pick and just pop it up. And that one's ready to come out. So if you look at this guy, you'll see that's what these little collars are right here. Whoop. Just little spacers to get it down to the 3/8 bolt. Now you can do this a couple different ways. I don't know, I didn't try it this way, to take a pick and pick it out like that. Sometimes these have been in there a while, so they're probably set up. I've got a 1/4" socket ratchet. It just barely fits down in there. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of loosen that guy up. Pops out, super easy. Go ahead and do the other side. Just like that. So that's what we got so far. Now you're going to take an 8mm socket, put it down inside of there, and you're just going to, sorry, I got to move you for a second. Get my hammer out. You can do this with a vise if you want to, but I went ahead and just do it this way. Pretty simple. Said a bench vise would probably be easier, but I'm trying to show you guys how to do this the easiest way possible if you don't have access to a bench vise, which hopefully you do. But easy enough, that came right out. We'll set that guy off to the side as well as that. Then we'll just take another 16mm socket and just tap that out like so. And that one's ready to get replaced. Now I'm just going to go ahead and fix this one while we're right here. Hold on, FedEx truck is showing up, so I guess I got to go take care of that. All right, guys, I just got a vise kind of set up here. Our next step is going to go ahead and get this guy tapped out. What I got is just a 7/8 socket with an extension put inside of there. If you guys want to use a deep well, you can get creative. But I always put this side down just to get a little bit more surface area on the bearing. And then with any luck, this guy will just tap right out. And just like that. So what we're going to do, take a little bit of a wire brush and clean these races up a little bit. I should clean up this entire thing. I'll do that at a later date once I get back to my race quad rebuilt. But for now, I just want to get you guys the info you need so you can go ahead and get yours replaced and steering better and get your steering tightened back up. Alright, so this is the steering stem bearing. As you can see, I can barely turn it. So this one's obviously shot. Just for the heck of it. You could fast forward through this if you want to, but we're going to tear this guy apart. If you take a little pick and just kind of pry it underneath to get that dust seal, and you can see how bad that is inside of there. So what we've got, we're going to take some marine grease. We're going to take the new bearings. If you pull these apart, there's a little bit of grease in there, but I don't think this is necessarily waterproof. I like using waterproof grease. And I'm just going to take that stuff and probably pull the other dust seal off and just take fingers full of it and just pack it in there and work it in until it's ready to go. Alright, so I'm trying to do this, not get grease all over my phone. So basically what I'm doing, I'm just packing this side full of grease. I'll do it to this side too, but at least if I do this on the one side, I can kind of work it in. I can kind of see that blue grease. Well, I'm using Lucas oil. They don't sponsor me or anything. That'd be nice, but I just keep working it and spinning this until I see the blue coming through, and I'll work at this a little bit more, and once I'm happy with how much I see there, I'll take more of this grease. It's this stuff here, in case you're wondering. I'll just work that in some more, go ahead and pop those caps back on, and go ahead and do the other 4 bearings for the actual pro steering arms. And once that's done, I'll check back in with you and we'll put this thing back together. All right, now that we're ready to assemble everything, got our bearings all packed full of grease and ready to go. Just kind of reverse the process. This guy set down in there. I don't know if they're all going to be this easy. Maybe the races wore out a little bit on this particular one, but if not, you got a vise. I found a 26 millimeter socket, works pretty well, fits right in there. You want to get a size that fits around the outer shell of the bearing, because you don't want to be pushing on the rubber part or on the inside part, because then you're pushing the bearing, everything that way, and you end up screwing something up. So all I'm going to do is just put this guy in here. I don't know if this vise will work that well for this particular part. I guess it will. Maybe. I've got another vise in my other garage. So just push that guy in the rest of the way. Oops. So when you're done, you should be able to see where your clips sit. All right, next step, I'm gonna go ahead and press these bearings inside of this, our steering linkage. Just get her set in there. Just take your vise. Should pop right in. Do it in the center. Just push that one in until it's flush, just like that. Now, a helpful tip is this guy, if you look at it from the inside, it's got a little lip on it that's supposed to sit inside of that bearing. Now, obviously, if you do that from here, set it on the side, it's gonna rock sideways on you. But just get that get that in there first thing, then you can at least get this bearing kind of started. You don't want to push it in all the way, just enough there. You should be able to hear that guy rattling around in there. So there's another, if you don't have any extra 3/8 bolts laying around, what you could do to center that up is take these little collars that sit inside of this bearing, just like that. Then take another bolt that's just a little bit shorter than the arm itself. It probably came off of one of these sides here that hold your pro steering links on. Just push that guy in there, line that up. You can see not really any place that can go. Back your vise up a little bit. Just set it like that and finish pushing that. And there you have it. So that part is done. So to finish it up, go ahead and do the other side and just take your collars here. So you've got them both set in there, everything's centered. Go ahead and get this guy out of the way. Make sure you put these on the right side. Washers on. Your nuts. ahead and snug things down. There you go. Nice and smooth. That's all there is to it. Thanks for watching. Just a quick edit. You'll notice in the video when I put the arms back on, they're going the other way. That's not the way they're supposed to go. I got a little bit ahead of myself. This is how they're supposed to go, with the arms out like this. All right, so now we're going to clean up and grease, lubricate these guys. This is the Pro Steering arms. I've got the rubber boots pulled back so you can actually get to the heims. What I'm doing is just taking some of this stuff and just spraying it in there, just getting all that crud and corrosion and whatever else is in there. I don't know if these were ever actually greased from the factory, but we're going to go ahead and do it. So once I get all that worked out and loose and everything's turning smoothly, maybe I'll take some carb cleaner and just get the rest of that stuff out so it's nice and clean and dry and ready for some grease. And so the grease that I'm using, if you didn't see it before, it's just Lucas Oil stuff. Seems like pretty good stuff. So yeah, once I get all that stuff out of there, I'm going to go ahead and pack that full of grease and get these guys back on. Alright, so as you can see, we got a bunch of grease work drawn in there. I'm not really going to clean this up too much, just for a little extra protection from water. I'm going to go ahead and slide this back over, go ahead and do the other one the same way, and then these will be ready to go.